Hello, stupid.
Hi, Saniya.
Hey, Doma, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm excited. Ready for
Yeah?
this. Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm a little bit like, I'm sure, like, talking to you, I always like start getting energized like fairly quickly. But like just coming to it, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so drained. And like, I've been on vacation all week. And for some reason, I'm just like drained from being on vacation. So I think I'm doing it wrong.
You know what? It's so funny that you say that because, like, I was like, he's on vacation. Why isn't he calling me every day? Like, I was like, you're hard to get hold of. Like, why
I
is he busy?
know. I've been super busy. I've been booking myself, like overbooking myself so much. So I think I still have 2 more weeks. So next week I'm gonna take a different approach.
It's a staycation. You'll be fine.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's fun things you're doing. Whoops, my
Oh,
microphone just fell on my boobs.
oh, fun. How are you?
um, Good. We're getting like spring-like weather here. I've been busy, but seeing the sun today, like I feel like just made me happy. Like it wasn't like this room that I record in usually is so cold when I walk in that I have to turn on like the heater in here, but
Oh
it
yeah,
was nice in here. So I'm excited.
good. It's very sunny outside today too. Like it's gonna be warm this weekend also. So it's nice. It's like insane that it's already spring weather, like beginning of March. But
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
I know that was a short winter, but a gloomy one, like all across Canada, I feel like.
Oh yeah, like super gray and dusty.
Yeah, and we're usually used to that in Vancouver, but it wasn't as gloomy here, I feel like, than in other places.
Yeah, yeah. Like when it's cold and there's no snow, it's harder than when it's cold and there is snow.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense. At least because at least it's pretty. You when there's snow, you know. When there's no snow, it's
exactly.
just like miserable.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with that.
Anyhow,
Look at what I'm wearing today, everyone. My birthday present from
yay!
Dama. It's our Tell Me Like I'm Stupid shirt made
It looks
by
so good.
Heish.
Yeah, it's I'm happy that it fits because like I didn't know if I should order you because you had told me your size and I didn't know if I should order you like a unisex in that size or just like women's version in that size.
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh well, if there's a chance of getting one that's not too floppy and that looks kind of good, I'm gonna try.
Mhm.
But I'm happy it fits. I was so
Yeah, no,
nervous.
it fits for sure. It's like, yeah, it's like I feel like I might not wash it too much because it then
Yeah,
might shrink, but it fits.
yeah. It's Would you have preferred a loose tee? Do you wear like loose tees?
Not out as much. Like at home, yeah, I'm always in a loose tee, but like I
Right,
can wear this out kind of thing.
right. Yeah, we want to show it to the world.
Exactly. But yeah, if you guys are watching on video, you can see it. If not, we said this last time, we should post a photo of it.
We're
Uh
gonna.
he did such an amazing job, our brand manager.
Yeah,
I think if you guys are looking for a brand manager or a graphic
for
designer,
like graphic designer. Yeah,
definitely
he's
reach
graphic
out to
designer.
him. His work is so good.
He's such an amazing artist. And now, like he's learning to do tattoos. So if you're in Montreal, you can gonna be able to get tattooed by him. Which I have one. This is one of his design.
So cute. I love that
Um,
one.
I know it's
Oh, I didn't see it in person.
yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't show it to you. We did hang out, but I guess I
Yeah.
didn't. We didn't make a point of showing them to you.
Yeah. You were in full sleeves, that's why I missed it.
Mm, yeah, because we hang out for your birthday. Sanya was in Montreal for her birthday last week.
Yeah, we went to
Last
this
week, right?
really good place for brunch. It was amazing.
I know. Ugh, so good. That place was every time, every year I have to go like around my birthday.
I think about those Scotch eggs like once a day.
I know. So good. Um and speaking of showing pictures, we now have a blog where you can all find the information we talk about at every episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I've set up a cute little blog for us. Tell me like I'm stupid.com. Easy, easy. And, it's going to be a place to find our episode notes mostly, as well as some media that we want to share to you, or any posts that we might want to do in the future. Um, so you can check that out if you want.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I had like a long day yesterday and I randomly see you just send me a link of that. And I was like, for a second, I was like, wait, who did this? And I was like, oh, wait, you did this.
It's like, what? We have a website now?
Yeah.
I know. I got like hyper focused and was like, okay, I can figure this out. And I actually had a lot of fun doing it. So
Yeah, well, check it out, guys. We'll post it in our link on Instagram as well in a little link tree there.
yeah, it's already there.
Oh, perfect. Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
so good.
I'm on it.
You're on it. I promise I
All
will
right.
get on it and I'll post photos of our new shirts as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so
Awesome.
let's hear your dad joke for today. Are you
All
ready?
right. Yeah, I am. I'm not sure you are though.
No, I never am.
Why were people so excited when the shovel was invented?
Because it cleans things. I don't know.
Sanya, what do you clean with a shovel?
Uh, because you shoveled you. Because they digged it. They dug it.
Because it was groundbreaking invention.
I was close. I was close.
Sorry, I got distracted by delivering the punchline because I got just so frustrated at you. It's like, what do you mean you clean with a shovel? It's not a broom. It's like you go in panic mode when someone tells you a joke and you just shut down completely and like forget to think.
Guys, I feel like episode like 1 year from now, you're gonna be doing this, and then you'll be like, Sanya, fuck off, and just like throw your book
Yeah.
and the podcast there.
Yeah, we'll have to change the formula because I'm going to be so sick of it.
Hey, I was close. You like digging. They dug it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
tried.
yeah. The nugget was funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could have been a punchline.
Oh,
I'll give
thank
it that
you.
to you. Yeah, you're
Thanks.
welcome.
Okay, the love is restored, guys. He's not mad at me anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's hop right into it. Before I start, I wanted to wish you all a happy St. Patrick's Day. Uh,
You.
it's kind of foreshadowing what we're talking about today. Do you celebrate Dama?
St. Patrick's now.
I know.
I
I
mean,
don't.
I feel like I don't know. I think I mean I'll go out to a bar or something if people are going, but
Mhm.
um I think like in high school I used to like dress in green and do these things and all that.
Yeah,
But it feels like very cultural appropriation kind of celebration thing. And it feels like very like I don't know if people know what they're really celebrating. Like
I totally
people are
agree.
just
Yeah.
like it feels like people are celebrating debauchery and drinking, and that's not necessarily what St. Patrick's Day is about.
Exactly. Stole my notes right there.
Oh, did
I'm
I?
like, I think we all just associate it by getting drunk. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think men and any of us or a lot of us don't know what's the actual reason behind St. Patrick's Day. Um, but let me tell you.
Oh,
Uh,
perfect. You got it. Okay.
so it's the third biggest drinking holiday in the world, actually. Um, first being New Year's Eve, and then the second one is kind of up in the air depending on like where you live and where you come from. There's like Christmas,
Mm,
Thanksgiving, and all these other things. But the real reason behind this day is to honor Saint Patrick on the anniversary of his death in the 5th century. So celebrated on March 17th, so it's on Sunday. This year,
yeah.
the Irish have observed this day as a religious holiday for over 1,000 years. On St. Patrick's
Oh,
Day,
wow.
which falls during the Christian season of Lent, Irish families would traditionally attend church in the morning and celebrate in the afternoon. Lenten prohibitions against the consumption of meat have been waived for the day. People dance and drink and feast on the traditional meat of the Irish, so bacon and cabbage.
I was gonna say because like it's too close to Easter for them to respect Lent, and but it's been waived for the day, so it's
Yeah.
like a reprieve from Lent. Oh, maybe that's why people go all out. Also,
Yeah. And then maybe it's because you have given up alcohol for Lent, so it's like it hits you harder, and that's why
Also
people get
that, also that.
hammered.
Although I don't know many people who
Exactly.
give up alcohol for Lent anymore, but
Yeah, me neither. But so it only felt right on such a big drinking holiday that we talk about alcohol and how it affects us.
ooh, I'm so excited.
But in good old stupid fashion, what we're gonna do is get a little drunk while doing it. Uh,
Is it what
s-
we always do?
well, actually, have you been drunk during your episodes? Because I've been like sober.
Okay, I thought you were going to say you've been tipsy. No, I've never been
Oh,
drunk during an episode. I was just joking. I've had
okay.
drinks during an episode, like one or two.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but I
exciting.
feel like I would even tell you when I was.
You wouldn't?
However, I would, yeah.
Oh, I was like, you
I
wouldn't?
think
You
it was
hide
like in
it?
our second and third episode, maybe or something
Oh,
like
wait,
that.
I think I remember you had like a beer or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but but I just haven't been drinking much lately at all. So I poured
Ooh, can't
myself a
wait to
drink now.
explore
I
that a
followed your
bit.
instructions,
Thank you.
and
What are we drinking today?
it's just a plain old gin soda.
Basic. I'm kidding.
I know, but it's actually really nice gin. It's like a gin that Ish gave me actually for my birthday. Um,
Oh.
Ish and his partner, they gave me uh, like a grapefruit gin. So
Ooh.
it's so flavorful that I don't want to add anything to it, just soda.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, like always, we're a twinning.
Oh, is that what you're drinking?
Oh, very close. So I told you mine is very basic, but then I added some frozen fruits and a cucumber on the side to make it less basic. Um, but
Is
it
that a paper
is
straw?
no wooden straw.
Oh, okay, okay.
Imagine I had paper straws at home.
So it's at home. I'd be
The
like, why do
soggy
you
ones
torture
too.
yourself like that? You just
That's
keep
so
them,
funny.
dry them out, and reuse them.
Oh my god, gross.
Yeah.
Well, I have it was like a little mini that you get, I guess, with a big bottle of booze, but it was
Oh yeah.
gin as well, but it's Seville oranges, hint of Seville oranges in it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yum.
And then I added soda and frozen berries and a little snack on the side to
That little
crunch away on.
snack.
I totally cut a fresh cucumber just for 2 slices here.
That is
Um,
so funny because literally I have a very, very full bar right now. I could have picked anything else, but I went for the gin, and of course you're having a gin as well.
yeah, and we both have our soda streams, so
Yeah.
pumped away before this.
So funny.
Good old stupid fashion. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
And if you all are not driving and have nothing better to do, please grab a drink and enjoy this episode with us.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Pause, pour yourself a drink, and press play.
Let's
That's
do
how
this.
that works.
um, all right. So I kind of want to talk about alcohol today and the effects it has on you and what's kind of going on with alcohol in the world right now.
Hmm.
Um, the way it affects your body and mind as well. Kind of want to start by saying, like, the last couple of years, I think I've been questioning my relationship a little bit with alcohol. In my early
Really?
20s, yeah. So in my early 20s, like everyone, like most people, I guess I should say, we binge drink every other weekend. Not as much, but like, yeah, once a month. And it almost always led to blackouts for me. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah. And,
Interesting.
or like throwing
Wow.
up at the end of the night. But I wasn't huge on it, like once a month, right? Like every time I did go out, it happened.
Yeah, yeah.
But then during COVID, unlike most people, I barely drank. I Avril and I, like, we don't really drink much at home anyways.
Hmm.
And during COVID, we almost never did. I got huge into working out and health and wellness, and I kind of became those people that I'm like, ooh, like I rather waste my calories on dessert and
Blech.
snacks than a bottle of wine. You know what I mean?
Very fair.
Um, yeah, and then Avril doesn't really love drinking that much either. Like, he either like drinks and goes really hard or nothing. So then
Right.
like it didn't make sense for us both to go really hard and like black out at home during COVID, you know? Uh so we kind of stepped away from that. Obviously like we
Hmm.
did like happy hours and like day drinking and a cocktail and beer and here and there, but it was very infrequent. Um, and then since then, in the post COVID world, I feel like, yeah, I still don't drink as much. Obviously, I socially drink, but as I'm being more conscious about what I put into my body, what I eat, um, I find that I can always kind of flirt with being sober, but then I can't say no when I'm out with friends sometimes either.
Right. Really, I didn't know that at all. I didn't know that
Yeah.
was on your mind. I also never
Yeah.
knew that wild side of you.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't know me in my early 20s. It wasn't like super wild. I'm not saying that I used to like black out. Like I just wouldn't remember
Well,
my
that is
night as
literally
much.
what you said, though.
I did say that, yeah. But it wasn't like I'd black out in like a club bathroom. I get home safe
Well,
and then
you
I
wouldn't
just
know, would you?
I hope my mom isn't listening to this.
Yeah. But you'd end up home safe.
Exactly. I was always home safe and I wasn't and like actually out of my friends, I was the one that took care of people most of the time. Um But by the time I get home, I'm like done, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like now also I'm like I've like started to say like no to happy hour with people. I'm like, why do we need to go to an overpriced bar and drink when we could go for a coffee and a walk instead?
Yeah.
Or just like drink at home and then that, you know, and usually people are driving and stuff like that. I guess I don't live downtown and stuff anymore either. So
Yeah. Yeah.
being a
Yeah.
suburban girl, it's just easier to just, you know, either drink at home or you have to drive somewhere kind of thing.
Driving is a big factor of it. I
Mhm.
do realize that now that um Justin and I kind of drive everywhere now.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, one person cannot drink. Well, usually Justin because he doesn't drink it in general, but like
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, well, it's not fair for you to have to drive all the time. So I'm gonna try
Mhm.
not to drink. Um
And then you'd end up drinking, he drives anyways.
well then he's like, you're freaking boring, just start drinking. No, that's not true. He never says that. He never says that. But he always like I find myself boring and I go to him and like, are you sure you want me to drive? And
Yeah,
he's like, no, no, you can drink.
that's so funny.
Yeah. But
Um,
no,
yeah,
that's
hi.
like I was gonna say um the only time I saw you kind of drunk
I know what you're gonna
was at your
say.
wedding.
I know, I
And
wanted
I
to say,
don't
like,
think you remember it.
yeah, that's actually no. So yeah, like I'm not a saint for sure. I've like gotten last year was probably like out of like post COVID world. I went hard at the end of last year. Like my wedding.
I mean, I
Um
think it's acceptable to drink at your wedding. I
oh
don't think
yeah,
that's
for sure.
considered
Especially
like
the
a
last night.
iffy relationship with alcohol.
Exactly. I went hard. I was so drunk. I think a lot of people were so surprised cuz a lot of people hadn't seen me that drunk. Um and
Because
then
we've drank socially before, but we're usually the ones that stay sober because everyone else are drunk and that are just like, okay, well, let's slow down because we have to take care of people together.
I know exactly what time you're talking about.
Twice.
Where we had to put people in
Yeah.
cars, and we
Put
were
people in
drunk and
cars.
having fun doing it,
Yeah.
but
But
I
yeah.
know. Um, yeah, last year, the end of last year, definitely, I went to another wedding and I got blackout there. And
Oh
then
yeah.
earlier last month, I I got really drunk at like my friend's house. And
That's so
apparently
fun.
I had a bottle of wine that I brought from home and it was like an aged like wine. Like it was from 2017. I just didn't open it and then I was like, guys, so I decided to open it one after I was like hammered and I made everyone try it apparently. And like that's when people were telling me that I was like just like cringing inside. I was like, was I like pouring aged wine down your throat? What was I doing?
That's so funny. That's
Yeah.
totally something I would do also. But I don't
Yeah.
black out. I've never blacked out. Um,
Good
My
for
thing
you.
is I get tipsy fairly fast,
Mm.
but then I stay there for a very long time, no matter how many drinks I pile onto it.
Mhm.
So I get quickly to a point where I would prefer not to drive,
Mhm.
but then I don't get increasingly drunk and noxious and stuff like that. I just stay at this level until I become like body sick from too much
Oh,
drinking.
yeah.
So,
Interesting.
so, and I've never like, I don't like um to feel sick.
Fair.
Like, I guess that's not groundbreaking, but so like I usually stop myself after like a few.
Yeah.
But like that's not true. I can drink a lot. I can drink a lot. It's just that I don't feel, yeah, I don't black out.
Yeah, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing you drunk. Like, you
No.
say you're drunk, we've drank a lot together, but I don't like, you never get sloppy, really.
No. I just like start like laughing a lot very
Yeah.
fast and
Good
making
for
a lot
you.
of jokes and being a bit like, yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I feel like if I were someone who was not a fun drunk, I would quit immediately. My anxiety
Yeah.
could never.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which I guess like that's the good part about blacking out. At least you don't remember.
Oh, no, that's so bad because the next day you wake up and you're like, "What the fuck did I do?" And then
Oh
you
yeah,
imagine the worst, that you told everyone in your life you hate them or something like that.
right.
But usually I've never done that. I'm always a happy drunk, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Except okay, now we're circling back to your wedding, and it's my second opportunity to say
Oh my god,
that.
that's so funny, I forgot about this.
Like I had a feeling you were trying to move past it. I was like, all right, I'll let her have it. But second opportunity. All right. So at Sonia's wedding, we're on the dance floor. It's like night two, I think, or night three. Night three. And we're on the dance floor and I'm hitting it off with your sister. And you got so annoyed and insecure at it, and you came to me and you're like, stop being friends with my sister. Like, do you like her more than me? Like, stop
Oh
being
my
friends with my sister.
god.
She's always stealing my friends and stuff like that. And keep piling on. And I was like, I started laughing because I was like, for sure you cannot be serious. And I'm laughing and laughing. And I see you and you're like visibly upset and actually really pissed. So I'm just laughing even more.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. But didn't I come back to you and say that I was kidding?
No, you apologize. You didn't say you were
Oh.
kidding. You apologize.
Okay, when you told me earlier, I thought you said that I was like came back and I was like, "Just kidding, you can be friends."
Well,
No? That's what I wanted
yes.
to say.
Yeah, yes, but not in a like, oh,
In
I
tears.
was I've never spoken to your sister since.
Imagine.
um more in a like I was serious, but I know it's not rational, so it's okay for you to be friends. Not in like I was pretending it was all a joke kind of way.
That's so my, like, childhood insecurities came out about all
Yeah.
my friends that like my sister better than me. I think though this was the same night that my sister was just as drunk as I was. And I don't think she remembers this either. I wonder if I ever told her.
Well, she listens.
Yeah, she listens. Sonam, if you're listening, I'm very
I don't know.
insecure.
It's been a while. Call me. I have a lot to tell you about.
Oh my god. That's so funny. Stop hitting on my sister. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, now that my insecurities are out there in public, let's talk about alcohol. So, Tama, can you tell us what is alcohol?
um, it's a byproduct of fermentation.
Mm.
Um,
I was gonna eat my cucumber, but I realize how noisy that'll be.
oh, your snack.
Yeah.
That's kind of like all I know.
No, you're totally right. So alcohol has ethanol in it, and pure ethanol is a clear, colorless liquid, right? It's also
Right.
used for cleaning products and like hand sanitizer and things.
Hmm.
And then, depending on the alcohol, it is made with yeast fermentations, the sugar in the grain, fruit, or vegetable, right? So, for
Right.
example, wine is made from sugar in the grapes, while vodka is made from sugar in the potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like ethanol mixed with a fermentation product. Alcohol is a drug that is highly addictive and activates the pleasure or reward centers in your brain. It gives you a feeling, a sense of well being, relaxed, in disinhibited. Oh my God, that's such a hard word to say. Kind of meaning like less control over your emotions, especially
Yeah.
inappropriate actions, i.e., the story you just told. Euphoric feeling as well. But alcohol is also a central nervous system depressant. This means that alcohol slows down your brain function and thought process. It can also affect our bodily functions, such as breathing and heart rate.
Mm.
Um,
Breathing.
yeah. So it
Interesting.
was very interesting while I was doing this research about what a toll alcohol takes on your body. Um, and then at first I was definitely like, wait, why the frick do I drink this? Like, this
Hmm.
isn't cleaning products, it can't be good for you. But then I had to kind of bring myself back and be like, you know what? At the end of the day, everything has bad sides to it, right?
Yeah.
I'm obviously not addicted to alcohol. It is something I do socially mainly. Keeping in mind it does have effects on your body. Um,
Hmm.
use it in moderation, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, just like you could say these things about bacon as well, right? Like it's not good for you, but you can indulge in it every now and then.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm addicted to
Totally.
bacon.
I'm addicted to bacon. No, but I mean, like, I'm just thinking, like, when you said, like, oh, everything has like negative effects and stuff like that. It's like, um, if you eat too much fish, you can get like some mercury poisoning,
Hmm.
or if you eat, only vegetables, you might have like protein deficiency.
Hmm.
It's like, obviously, like, these are like not as comparable, but like, everything we do, you drive a car there, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. You have to get somewhere, but it's very bad for the environment. So like everything you do, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. And so it's good to be aware of both in order to make that decision wisely.
Hmm. Totally. So kind of let's talk about how it affects your brain. So, obviously, alcohol affects your whole body, but it really takes a toll on your brain. Alcohol interferes with the brain's communication pathways, and it can also affect the way your brain it processes. Wow, processes information. My brain is taking
Cheers.
a toll right now by alcohol. Did I think this was a good idea? I have so many numbers and big words in here. I'm gonna not be able to say alcohol after a bit too. Um, so there's several stages of alcohol intoxication and how it affects your brains. So the first stage is subliminal intoxication. Your blood alcohol content, also known as BAC, is between 0.01 and 0.05. This is the first stage of intoxication. You may not look like you're drinking, but your reaction time and behavior and judgment may be slightly altered.
Mm,
Depending on weight, most people enter this stage after one drink.
mm.
I think I'm already at this stage.
Woo.
So the second stage is euphoria. During the early stages of drinking, your brain releases more dopamine. This chemical is linked with pleasure. During euphoria, you may feel relaxed and confident, but your reasoning and memory might be slightly impaired. Often referred to as the tipsy stage, this stage occurs when your BAC is between 0.03 and 0.12.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So I would say like when the way you kind of described where when you get drunk, you're mainly
Yeah,
in the
where I
euphoria
like, yeah.
stage.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right.
Um then we have excitement. At this stage, with a BAC of 0.08 to 0.25, You are now legally intoxicated. This is a level of intoxication that affects the occipital lobe and temporal lobe and your frontal lobe in your brain. Drinking too much can cause side effects specific to each lobe, including blurred vision, slurred speech, and hearing, lack of control, and the partial lobe, which processes sensory information, is also affected. You may have a loss of fine motor skills and a slower reaction time. This is a stage often marked by mood swings, impaired judgment, and even nausea or vomiting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like
So
that's
they call
my
it excitement, but it's not that fun necessarily.
I feel like this is where I kind of tend to go to. Like that's like what I talk about when I am drunk. Like that's where I was probably at my wedding, where it's like I'm
Right.
slurring, I can't like I'm like
Yeah.
swaying. Um, I definitely can't drive a car. I can't really walk straight either. But
Yeah.
like I'm excited, I'm happy. It also talks about like mood swings, so clearly what I had with you. Um, I'm getting a little nauseous at this point where I'm like, I need to go, but I
Yeah.
usually end it here. I don't think I've gone past this stage.
The only thing that I would say I recognize a lot myself in that stage is I get super clumsy when I drink.
Mm,
Like I'm already super clumsy when I'm sober. So it's not a big leap,
mhm.
but I do get very clumsy. Like I'll
Yeah,
break everything.
yeah,
Hide your
yeah.
belongings.
And then you're like, I'm not drunk. I swear, I'm just always clumsy, which makes you sound
Yeah.
even more drunker. I get that. I feel
Exactly.
that one.
Yeah.
All right. So the next stage is confusion. A BAC of 0.18 to zero point 0.3 often looks like disorientation. Your cerebellum, which helps with coordination, is impacted. As a result, you may need help walking or standing. Blackouts or the temporary loss of consciousness or short term memory are also likely to occur at this stage. This is a result of your hippocampus, the region of your brain that is responsible for making new memories, not working well. You may also have a higher pain threshold, which may increase your risk of injury.
Mm,
Um,
wow.
I have a
That's
little
I
funny story. Oh, go ahead.
no, just hearing that it's up to like 3 or point 0.3,
0.
0.3.
0.3, yeah.
That's a lot of
Hmm.
alcohol. And relating that to the number of the time that I'm out and I see people barely conscious walking around and like stumbling and all that, I'm like, oh wow, they drank a lot to get there.
Hmm. I was trying to do some research about like how much like average drinks are, but it really, really, really depends on
It really
you as
does.
a person.
Yeah.
Um, but like they do define binge drinking as like 5 to 10 drinks, and then that was past that would be like 15 drinks. So I think when you're at zero point 0.3, depending on the type of person you are, it could be like 15 drinks, but it depends what you're
Yeah.
drinking and all of that as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a funny story about this. So years ago, I
Mhm.
think 5 years now, Avril once broke his arm. Um, oh my God, I can't even remember the two bones, but it's like right here, like his
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Elma and something. Oh my God. But anyways, he was like, we were at my backyard party. We were having a backyard party. He was barbecuing all night. And then he wasn't able to drink, right? Because he was so on top of everything while everyone around him is getting drunk. And he finally finishes his barbecuing and he's like, let's do this. So he's like taking shots after shots. Um, and then something happens and he like pretends to run away from all of us, right? And he's like
Right.
running. And the guy who used to live upstairs, had two Frenchies and they used to hop over the fence.
Right.
Um, so to prevent that, he had recently installed a little bit of a chicken wire right on top of the fence so they couldn't hop, right?
Ugh.
Avril didn't realize that. Or maybe he did and he just thought he'd make it. So he decided to run away from all of us. We're all watching him. And he's like being funny, runs and hops the fence, and then just gets his
Ugh.
foot caught and falls flat. And like it was so funny because we all went running over and like he literally gets up, pushes himself up somehow, and goes like his like arm is swinging around. He's like, I think it's broken. And then like all of us are very drunk, so someone's like, pop it back in. And
No.
like, yeah. And the funny part is, like, I was drunk, but like, I guess like I went back to like when I'd been in hospitals prior to, and I just associated being cold. So I just bolted inside to grab a sweater before we went to the hospital. But everyone thought I got pissed, and I'm like, fuck this shit, and just like
Oh,
walked
yeah.
away. And then I feel
You're like,
so
no,
bad.
I'm not going to spend 3 hours at the hospital freezing my ass
Cold.
off. I'm getting a sweater. You're too
Yeah.
funny.
Then like two people had just arrived to the party, so they were sober still. So we made like one of them drive Avril in their car and the other one drive me in my car so I can
Drive him back afterwards when you
drive
sober
him
up.
back when I sobered up. And then okay, so the reason for the story is that like he had a really high threshold for pain at this point because he was able to push himself up.
Right.
Even though like his one arm was completely bruised the next day and the other one was broken.
Oh my
But
god.
then also when we got to the hospital, they were like asking us questions and they're like, we kind of told them what happened, the story. And when they found out that Avril had a lot to drink, they took us in right away. We didn't have to wait at all at the hospital. And I kind of asked too. I was like, because I was a little confused. I was like, is it that
Yeah.
serious? And
Yeah.
it was because they didn't like they don't know how your like the pain level is because you're drunk at that point. And
Oh, they can't
um
really rely on you to tell them how serious it is.
exactly. So they kind of when you're drunk, they have to kind of take you in right away.
Mm,
I'm like, that's a good hack now to know too if you need to go
right?
to the hospital for
Oh,
something.
because there might be something else hurting that you're not even aware about.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um yeah. So next time you have a stomach ache and you think you need to
Yeah.
go to the hospital, take a couple of shots, guys. I'm kidding.
I don't think that's going to work in
Bad
Quebec, to be
advice.
honest. It's just going to be,
um yeah, everyone's drunk anyways.
instead of waiting 12 hours, you'll maybe wait 12 and a
6.
half.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh,
11 and a half, sorry.
yeah. All right. So then the next
Math.
level of intoxication that affects your brain is called stupor. You've reached a BAC of 0.25. You may have concerns of food poisoning at this point. All mental, physical, and sensory functions have been severely impaired, and the risk of passing out, suffocating, and injury is high.
Oh my.
Then the next level is called coma. At
Mm.
BAC, I know, they're just calling these levels like, oh, I think you're in the level of coma. But your
Yeah.
BAC is 0.35. You're at a risk of going into a coma. This occurs due to compromised respiration and circulation and motor responses and reflexes. A person in this stage is at a concern of death, or sorry, a risk of death. And then
Mhm.
finally, you're at the stage of death. It's BAC of 0.45 and this may cause death due to alcohol poisoning or failure of the brain to control the body's vital functions.
Right.
So this is
Wow.
that scary stage.
It's kind of
Um,
crazy because it escalates really fast.
mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you're stumbling around at like zero point 0.3 and now at
Mhm.
0.45 you're dead.
Mhm. So
It's
scary to think
wild.
about.
Yeah.
So the way your body reacts to alcohol is dependent on many different reasons. We have gender, age, race, pre-existing conditions, lifestyle, the top type of alcohol you're drinking, and how much you've eaten.
Uh-huh.
Alcohol tends to affect women more quickly because women are usually smaller and weigh less than men and have less tissue to absorb the alcohol. A
Right.
woman's body has more fat and less water than a man's body. And if a man and woman are the same size and drink the same alcohol, the alcohol is stronger in the woman's blood than in the man's. The woman will get drunk more quickly and feel the effects longer.
Interesting. Because you're less
Alcohol,
water?
yeah, we do have less water and more fat, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Alcohol also stays in women's blood for longer. They have lower levels of enzymes that break down alcohol.
Oh, interesting.
Women feel the effects of alcohol more quickly before a period or during ovulation. The contraceptive pill can have the opposite effect, and it takes longer for alcohol to leave the body. A woman in this situation might drink more than she realizes before she feels the effects.
Mm. Does
Um,
that happen to you? Did you notice like sometimes? I guess like you're not necessarily thinking about that and keeping track of that at all times, but like, did you notice that like, I should be drunker, or like, this is hitting me harder?
yeah, like, I mean, especially like in my early 20s when you drink, you don't really realize like
Yeah, you're not thinking about
you
that.
don't
You have other
realize you're
things on your
not
mind.
thinking it, you're just doing it. It's just
Yeah,
motions, and then later you're like, "Fuck, I'm drunk." Well,
yeah,
now I can usually tell, like, I know how where the 2 drinks will get me depending on what
yeah,
I'm drinking. Don't take shots as much as I used to.
yeah.
Um, all right, so race comes into play, as well on how your body handles alcohol. Have
Hmm.
you heard of the term alcohol flush?
Yes.
Can you tell us about it?
It's it almost presents itself as like kind of a like allergic reaction to alcohol or something like that, right? Where um, just drinking alcohol gives you not like highs, but you become very like intensely blushed in the face, and you start feeling very hot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's also commonly referred to as Asian glow or Asian flush.
Hmm.
Um, so this kind of reaction is a frequent occurrence in East Asians, with approximately 30% to 50% of Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans showing characteristically psychological responses to drinking alcohol that provides facial flushing, nausea, headaches, and a fast heart rate. The condition also is highly prevalent in some Southeast Asian and Inuit populations.
Mm.
So, according to the Washington Post, experts say that those who experience alcohol flush reaction should drink as little as possible, or ideally not at all. The redness and other symptoms may be thought of a severe warning from your body that alcohol is extremely toxic to this individual, much more than it may be to others.
Oh, so it is like an allergic reaction.
Yeah, so there's actually it's a mutation. So the associated mutation known as ALDH2 star 2 variant has been linked to a staggering number of diseases in those who consume moderate to large quantities of alcohol, and who drink in and those who drink in moderation, defined as 2 drinks a day for men and 1 drink a day for women, have a higher risk of esophageal cancer,
Oh
40
my.
to 80 times higher than a person without the mutation who
Oh
consumes the same
wow.
amount.
Huh.
Hmm.
That's like a
So,
huge portion of the population. You said like 30 to 50% of those population?
exactly. Um, and I
Wow.
feel like it's not talked about enough. Like from my research, I think a lot of people, just think it's the Asian flush and you're not used to it,
Yeah, and
but
it's
it's
kind of
actually a
like made
mutation.
a it's kind of like even talked about as like, oh, it's kind of cute and adorable and like ha ha ha, you've got the Asian flash. And it's like, wait, no, this is maybe look into different alternatives than alcohol.
Yeah, totally. So, people with this ALDH2 star 2 variant lack a functional enzyme that helps the body break down alcohol. The alcohol is normally metabolized by the body in 2 steps. One enzyme converts the body into, um, hang on just one moment. I want to say this word correctly. I'm trying to work on my pronunciation better.
Oh.
Acetaldehyde. I got to get her to say it for me.
Ooh.
I know. I have Google here saying words for me, guys.
Wait, that's smart because of the headphones. It could be completely seamless. I should do
Yeah,
that. It wouldn't help me, but I should do it anyways.
exactly. So one enzyme converts the body into acetaldehyde, a compound significantly more toxic to humans than alcohol itself. And the second
Uh,
enzyme then quickly converts acetaldehyde into acetate, a compound that can be safely metabolized by the body. So that's usually how we, people that don't have this variant, metabolize
right.
alcohol, right? But people with this variant, alcohol flush reaction produces a version of the second enzyme called mitochondrial aldehyde dehydrazone 2 that has
Good
very
job.
low, I know I'm trying here, guys, that has very low activity. So people with this deficiency, that means that their alcohol is not properly metabolized in their system, and that acetaldehyde is essentially a poison that builds up in their blood.
Oh shoot.
And this acetaldehyde has been proven to cause cancer. So it puts them at a
Wow.
really high risk of cancer as well. Um, Dr. Chi Hong Chen is the director of the Stanford Center of Asian Health Research and Education. Uses a simple ethanol patch to test whether subjects have this deficiency. It's 70 to 90% accurate, but to be sure, people can just take a DNA test and find out as well.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And
Huh.
then people with this deficiency are encouraged not to drink at all, or very little.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
That's
I
I mean, that's shocking to me. That's crazy because again, it's so common. And it's
mhm,
such a big and drinking is so common also. I
mhm,
feel like that in itself is a great argument for broader legalization of cannabis, for example,
mhm.
to give safer alternatives. I know this episode is not about this, but like safer alternatives than alcohol for people for who sounds like it's a literal danger to their life.
Exactly. Like they said it was 30 to 50% of Chinese, Japanese, and Korean cultures, and all three of them have a very big drinking culture,
Yeah,
present.
and like
So
that's a big portion of the worldwide population in general. Like 30 to 50% of those cultures is a big portion of the worldwide population.
yeah, and a lot of people I feel like, yeah, just chalk it up to being cute. Like I get a little red when I drink.
No,
But if
it's
you do have this mutation, that's very scary. Um,
yeah,
and I totally agree. There's other alternatives, much safer alternatives for a little bit of release.
yeah.
Um, okay, let's talk about the liver. So the liver is one of the most important organ in your body that gets impacted by alcohol. The liver breaks down most of the alcohol you drink so it can be removed from your body. This process creates substances that are that are more harmful than alcohol. Large amounts of these substances can damage your liver cells and can cause severe liver disease. So liver disease is getting increasingly common. Um, in what you would think, like, so when I think of liver disease, I think of the older population, right? I want to say like 50s to 70s, but it's getting
Hmm.
increasingly popular in people in their 30s to 50s right now.
What really?
Yeah. So, right now, alcohol can cause 4 out of 5 deaths from liver disease. So, the types of liver disease caused by alcohol. So, the first one is fatty liver. Fatty liver is like the first stage of liver disease.
That's
Um,
rude.
little fatty liver,
A little
little
fatty
cute little fatty
liver.
liver. There's scientific terms for this, but I'm not even gonna try and pronounce those because I
No.
butchered them so badly. This can be actually reversed, and further damage can be avoided by not drinking, doing a 360 on your lifestyle, right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Then comes inflammation of the liver. Then we have acute alcoholic hepatitis.
Hmm.
And then we reach scarring of the liver. So by the time you get to scarring of the liver, sometimes you have no symptoms at all on the outside, right? Uh, you can feel like you're participating in binge drinking, but you don't feel it as much.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't show it as much, right? And what they're seeing is increasingly now people are coming into the hospital in their 30s with scarring of the liver. And at this
Oh my
point,
god.
it's getting too late, right? It's because the next step after this is just liver failure.
Oh god.
Um, Ways that this can be avoided is like, going in for your regular testing, and also in the medical field, them talking about your liver more.
Yeah.
Um, this is getting very popular, especially something that happened a couple years ago, and it's coming up at its 4 years anniversary, COVID, right? Where people were just drinking so much more than usual at home. Um,
Mm,
24% of reported increase in alcohol during the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is just in North America alone.
huh.
Um, which to me, I'm like, 24% seems like a lot,
That's a
like, and
lot. That's very high.
because you're not even
Like,
going out, it's not social drinking, it's drinking at home.
yeah. Which to me personally has never been something that's very attractive in general. I'll do it every now and then. Like, I'll put some music on, you know, dance in my underwear with a drink or something like that. Like once in a blue moon, but otherwise, like, I'm sober all the time when I'm alone at home.
Yeah. Um, exactly. So the pandemic resulted in actually the highest alcohol consumption since 1988. Um,
Wild.
and Mississippi saw the highest increase in alcohol related deaths, 159% of increase in alcohol related deaths, and about 10% increase in apparent alcohol consumption.
Huh.
Um, So, if this is resonating with you, if you feel like, maybe you do drink a lot, or someone who does, obviously, like if they are an alcoholic, there's a lot of different resources out there to get some help. But if you just feel like your social drinking habits or someone else's habits might, be a red flag, definitely think about limiting it. Go get yourself checked out by a health professional, see if it is doing any um damage to your liver. If you have reached, like fatty liver or inflammation in the liver, these things can be reversed. But
Yeah.
hopefully not to the point where it is irreversible.
It's such a terrible addiction, and it's so difficult to see someone go through it and to help someone going through it because, like, I don't know. I did have one friend that like had a bit of my mic, that had a little bit of like a drinking problem, and tried addressing it the best I could. Tried being supportive the best I could, but like, they just end up shutting you out so
Hmm.
that they can secretly keep drinking.
Hmm.
So
I know,
yeah,
I
it's very
totally
hard.
agree. I think most people I talk to know like one or two people that do have a drinking problem, right?
Hmm.
And sadly, I feel like I know people younger and younger now that are dealing with that. Um,
Mm,
And unlike a drug problem, well, alcohol is a drug, but this is a legal drug too. So
yeah,
it's easy to get, um,
yeah.
and also easy to hide almost in a way. I feel like it's a
But
beverage.
also easy to consume in plain sight. Also, like it's easy to find people to join you in that,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Just eh, people at work might not realize that, like, you're instigating
Yeah,
oh
you got this.
god instigating, like, the afterwards, like I said, for drinks, not because you really care about a social, like a good vibe among colleagues, but more because you're just desperately looking for an opportunity to drink.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like, it's such a social thing. You don't even
Yeah,
have to be someone who drinks alone to be an alcoholic almost. You can
yeah,
go out every night with friends and you could,
yeah,
but it's still like if you're drinking every night, there is something of a problem there.
yeah.
Um yeah, and I think that it's and it's very hard to approach someone, especially if they are drunk, to be like, "Hey, I think you have a problem." Um It is, I would say it would be very hard, like, I've never had to do it, but I can't imagine having to do it.
Because there's
Um
so much shame attached to it, and there's so much with men in particular. I feel like being able to handle your alcohol and being able to have control over your alcohol, it's so associated to your, like, manhood and masculinity.
Mhm.
Then it's just
Yeah.
like, no, like, alcohol's not for you.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking your manhood or anything. It's just like, but yeah, it's there's so it's so complex. There's so much insecurities into it. There's everything into it, right? And it's
Uh,
very encouraged by society. So
exactly. I think one thing I'm trying to be more mindful of is that if I'm out with friends and someone's not drinking, not to ask why. It's their
yes, yeah,
choice and it doesn't matter.
yeah,
I think especially in women, a lot of times you're like, "Oh, I'm not drinking." I'll be like, "Oh, why are you pregnant?" And it's
yeah,
like, "No, just not drinking," you know? And it
yeah.
puts so much pressure. And then say you are trying to get pregnant and you're not drinking, that just adds a lot more pressure on you.
Very true.
Um, I think if people decide to be sober, it's up to them. It is like the same thing as me not eating fries because I'm trying to avoid carbs or something, you know?
Yeah. Or you just might not feel like it tonight. You know, you don't need to be a reason. You don't need to want to get sober. One thing that I'm trying to
Totally.
do, and I'm still very clumsy at it, but at least I'm trying, is to always have a non-alcoholic option when I host.
Mhm.
And like not just like, oh, I have a nice juice or something. Like now there's really good like non-alcoholic gins and stuff, right? So I can still make cocktails, but booze-free ones, you know?
Yeah, we'll definitely be touching on that a little bit. But
Ooh.
a reason why I don't think I could ever be an alcoholic is that I freaking hate hangovers.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think do you get hangovers really bad?
Oh yeah, and you just wait. It's only going to get worse and worse as you get older.
Oh
It's
god.
terrible. Like now I have like 3 drinks and I forget to drink 6 glass of water
Yeah.
and I wake up and my next day is completely ruined.
Mhm. Mhm. So, you've probably experienced or even heard of a hangover if you don't drink, a set of unpleasant symptoms that usually follow excessive alcohol intake or not so excessive sometimes. Most people can recognize the signs and treat the symptoms at home. What are some of your remedies?
Okay, my favorite, and this works like a charm, chicken noodle soup.
Yes,
But like
sodium.
in package, like because you just add a lot of water, that like chicken noodle package, and you just drink that. Oh, that's what works the best.
I totally agree. Yeah. Just or like oily, greasy food too. Um, and I
Oily,
like to
greasy food feels really good and satisfying, but doesn't treat the symptoms so much, I find.
okay.
Where,
So to
like,
me, usually after I'm hungover, I like to sorry, when I'm hungover, the one thing that kind of helps is pooping, like literally flushing it out of my system. So I think like oily, greasy food helps me get that satisfying poop out. Sorry guys, such a TMI. Uh, but that is what I personally do.
also, I think you just made some weird connections in your mind from like feeling better because it's later in the day and finally having a good poop. And like you made the connection in your mind that, like, oh, the poop is what fixed you.
Yeah,
But I think,
totally.
correlation is not causation
No,
necessarily.
it just might be a me thing.
Yeah. But
People
that's
are like
hilarious.
eating greasy food now, like waiting to poop,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's not happening.
But like definitely like a good like grand slam at Denny's
Yeah,
when the morning after.
yeah, for sure. So generally, the more you drink, the higher the likelihood that you'll experience a hangover, but there's no way to predict how much you may need to drink to avoid a hangover. Some people can experience a hangover from just one drink. Personally, I think sugary drinks give you a hangover quicker because of the levels of sugar changing in your body.
Mm,
Sugary drinks also dehydrate you. And because they taste better as opposed to like a non sugary drink, you end up consuming more alcohol than you realize.
yeah.
The severity of a hangover often has to do with the way your body metabolizes the alcohol. As you drink, alcohol triggers a number of reactions in your body. These reactions can contribute to a hangover as well. So the reactions include frequent urination. I think that's pretty common. We pee a lot when we're drunk, and then that kind of leads to dehydration.
Well, so I've been hearing, I don't remember where I heard this, but apparently you just pee a lot because you've been drinking a lot of liquids.
Mm-mm. According to my research, that is
Yeah.
incorrect. That's what you think. Um,
Wow. That was, according
Doctor
to my
sued in
research,
the
that is
house.
incorrect. Yeah.
That is what I assumed too, right? Because I'm drinking a drink, obviously I'm gonna pee a lot. But apparently alcohol, your bladder isn't able to absorb it properly and it's not able to remove the toxins. So it's actually makes you urinate because it's dehydrating you.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
and an inflammatory response from your immune system contributes to a hangover, irritation in your stomach lining, a drop of blood sugars, and expansion of blood vessels as well.
Mm. What's
Most
the
hangovers. Oh, go ahead.
what's your worst hangover? Like what drink gives you the worst hangover?
Sugary drinks, straight up.
Just in general.
Any like I, like we all love a cool cocktail at a restaurant, but
Hmm.
like I can't do those Bellinis anymore. Like that's just
Yeah,
sugar
they're
water,
rough.
right?
Yeah.
I'll have one and then I have to switch over to like a vodka soda or like a gin and tonic.
Have you ever been champagne drunk and hungover from champagne?
Oh yeah.
That is horrible. It's
Yeah.
the absolute worst.
And because of the bubbles too, your stomach just feels weird.
Yeah, and it's also sugary, and you get like heartburns and like the headache.
Yeah. And actually, I will say cheap wine drunk, like hungover is
Also that,
bad
yeah,
too.
yeah, like that box wine. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Only $20 plus bottles of wine for me now. So most hangovers typically start once your blood alcohol um levels start to return to closer to zero. Hangovers generally only last up to 24 hours and go away on their own. I think the older you get, the
Mhm.
longer they go.
You have to address them.
Exactly. Um to kind of like, like avoid severe hangovers, try not to drink on an empty stomach,
Mm,
or use other drugs while drinking. Smoking nicotine is known to make your hangover worse.
really
Yep.
interesting.
Uh, so, and then like poor sleep after drinking. Um, Alcohol worsens your sleep, which may result worse in your hangover. So, a lot of people, like, I mean, alcohol is a depressant. So, it does make you
Hmm.
sleepy, but
Yeah,
it takes you straight to that deep sleep and you skip the other levels of sleep. You go straight
right.
into your REM, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why when you wake up, even though you slept and were in a deep sleep, you don't feel rested.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Or some people just have a hard time falling asleep, right? I think I'm the same. I have a hard time falling asleep after a night of drinking, but I feel like I've slept for a while, like I slept all morning, but I still wake up feeling very tired.
Right.
And then drinking dark colored alcohol such as rum, brandy, or whiskey do worsen your hangover.
Yeah,
Um,
those are horrible too.
Yeah, they also make your hangover after poops, like, very darkly colored. Have you noticed that?
You're very observant of your poops, aren't you?
Yeah. Whole episode on poop coming up next.
Yeah.
Um, so pacing yourself, so aim to drink 1 drink or less every hour, and drinking water between alcoholic drinks may help the severity of your hangover. Um, yeah. So, like we were kind of mentioning before, you said you're trying to be more mindful of having non-alcoholic options when you're hosting.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a huge shift in people becoming sober. uh, I kind of thought when people say they're sober, like I always thought like, oh, they went through an alcoholic abuse phase and
Hmm.
that's why, but that's not true. Many people are just turned off by it or enjoying a sober life, more conscious of their health and wellness. And it's brought a huge increase of non alcoholic beverages in the market. Market research by Nielsen IQ says that the United States non alcoholic beverages are seeing double digit sales growth, with sales up to
Wow.
20% more in 2022 over the previous year. And market and consumer data provider Statistica is predicting an 8.4% increase in the volume of non alcoholic beers sold in Canada next year.
Wow.
Um, Andrew Sukram, owner of Sukram Brewing Company in Winnipeg, said that the next 5 to 10 years, the market share of non alcoholic beers globally is projected to grow even more than craft beer.
Huh. Wow. Crazy, eh?
Yeah, and they're calling non alcoholic beers near beers, and I kind of like that.
Near beers?
Yeah,
Sure.
so
I guess it's kind of
just
clever.
not beers, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the Gen Zs, and I know you were mentioning this to me one day, like why are Gen Zs drinking less?
Yeah.
Um, they're called the rise of the sober, curious generation. I
Who
like
comes
it.
up with these terms? Okay, never mind. She's looking at me like, before you criticize, I like it.
I know. I like it. I want to be known as sober curious.
So we're curious.
So, Gen Zs in particular are drinking less compared to other generations and are consuming less caloric and sugary drinks. People 20 to 24 are most likely are almost half as likely to prioritize uh, spending on alcoholic drinks for, oh, sorry, spending on alcoholic drinks for the home than consumers over the age of 75. So they're less likely to spend more money at home on
Okay,
alcoholic
right,
drinks.
right,
That
right,
was
right,
a
right.
weird way to put it.
Right? I
This
got it though.
suggests that a significant number of Gen Zs are shifting their focus away from alcoholic drinks, both inside and outside the home, and opting for sober socializing. In 2023, going to restaurants is one of the most popular choices for socializing, while online gaming, visiting cafes, and going to the cinema have gained comparable popularity than going out for a drink. Along with the physical benefits, mental health being priority for many Gen Zers.
Hmm.
Um, Gen Zs have honed in on reducing their alcohol intake as a way to manage their emotional well being and mindfulness, because alcohol is a depressant after all.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I like it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Um, my I almost said my husband. He's gonna be pleased. My partner,
Ooh.
Justin, doesn't drink, is sober just because like every time I like we talk about it, it's just like he just doesn't really care for it.
Mhm.
Um, but I've been always like kind of like in admiration of how it doesn't stop him from putting himself in situations where people drink.
Mhm.
Like he'll go to the bars, he'll go to the clubs, and he'll go like when I'm not there. Even he'll go without me to meet some friends there and stuff like that. And it's not a problem. It's never been too dating for him. But I
Mhm.
don't know if like the what you just said kind of suggests that Gen Z don't put themselves in those situations. Like they just choose like to go to like the cinema, I guess, instead. Which I'm like, who goes to the cinema?
Well, it did say like going to restaurants is more like one of the most
Right.
popular socializing choice. So yeah, maybe they don't go
So
out
not
partying.
bars, not clubs, right?
Yeah. Um, I feel like, the pandemic has a huge factor.
That's very fair. That's very fair, right?
Mhm.
Because like they got used to socializing in a different way, and like for us, it was a blimp. Well, yeah, it was like a little blimp in our adulthood, but for them, it's their entire adulthood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think also like how we touched on like, most of us know someone who is
A blip, not a blimp. Sorry, I had to like a blip. A blimp is like, isn't that the big floating things in the skies? Yeah, a blip. It was a blip in their adulthood.
it's so funny, I didn't put two and two together.
No, because I'm
um
re-listening, I'm re-listening to episodes, and I realize that I you do it too, but I do it most. Where I say like a complete wrong word, and you go along with it, and then I'm like, I sound like an idiot. We both understood what I meant, but I'm like, that's not the right word.
yeah. Only people that are stay on the same wavelength as us can listen to
Listen to
our
this podcast.
podcast. Sorry if you're listening, you're stupid.
Yeah, bad news.
Or there might be like, some of the haters, some people that are listening and judging away.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Hopefully not. Uh,
That got dark.
Going back to my thought there, I feel like also like now, like something I didn't touch on is like years ago, like I think like back in the 90s, people were told like having a glass of wine a day is actually good for your health and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, or early 2000s, maybe not 90s, but like, like people took that seriously. Boomers took that seriously. And
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like that's why they've unfortunately developed a lot of, you know,
Addiction.
addiction or just like bad habits that have, led to different problems with their health. And Gen Zs maybe watch that happen and are turned off by drinking by the behaviors they've seen their parents or grandparents, I should say,
Yeah.
exhibit.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? That's just me speculating.
But
Um,
also, like, I think even closer to home, like, they're like bigger siblings or cousin who are like millennials
mhm,
who we are more in the, or we were a lot more at least in the drinking cultures and in our 20s and going out and all these things. And like, I don't think Gen Z look up to us with a lot of admiration.
unfortunately.
I think they look up to us more as a cautionary tale
Yeah.
often. So that could play a role in that too, maybe.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I think the more I'm realizing this too, like, I'm at the end of millennials, so I'm a 95, I'm the last year. So sometimes on things I can relate to Gen Zs, or like maybe
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be cool here. But like with this whole not bi curious, sorry, sober curious,
Whoop. Freudian slip.
sober curious culture, I feel like I can kind of relate to it. Um,
Yeah, you're a zillennial.
yeah.
That's what they call you.
So cool.
Yeah.
But I still cringe at most Gen Zs. I'll say that. Um, but as I wrap this up here, um, I mean, I feel like personally, alcohol abuse is like a real issue in our generation and the older generations. If listening to this, resonated with you about anything you do or your habits, or even someone around you, maybe you could just like a good way to kind of tell them you're worried about them is sending them this podcast, and hopefully kind of helps them. That's my
Smooth.
way of saying promote us, please.
Smooth, Sonia. Yeah. No, it's for the well being of your close ones, people. Don't be selfish. Spread the love.
Exactly. And drink responsibility, please. Responsibility. Wow.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly. And please, please, please don't drink and drive.
No, absolutely not. That's just not worth it. Just not
Yeah.
worth it. Um, that was interesting, Sonia. Thank you. I feel
Yeah.
like I like always knew obviously that it's not good for your health, but never really looked into why.
Hmm.
And I was shocked. I learned a lot of things.
Yeah, me too. I found it very interesting. Especially like just like putting into numbers like your blood alcohol contents and stuff like that. Like it scares me, like, slurring and stuff like that, like, seems fine, but looking at it this way, it's like, "Oh, your fine motor skills are also impaired. You have a slower
Yeah.
reaction time," and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, you have a higher pain threshold at this point where you can hurt yourself and you don't even know how bad you're hurt. It's scary
Yeah.
out there, so just be careful. Make sure if you are drinking and stuff like that, you're with people that will take care of you and help you if needed.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Take care of yourself, everyone. Just
Yeah, and
moderation is key.
exactly, moderation is key. So go have a drink, go have some bacon, and
Yeah.
don't do it tomorrow.
On that note, I'm due for a refill.
Thank you for listening. My drink has become like mush.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Tell Me Like I'm Stupid is created and produced by us, Saniya and Thomas. You can follow us on Instagram at Tell Me Like I'm Stupid.
If you'd like to support us, please subscribe and review on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Our cover art was created by Ish. Find him on Instagram at H.E.E.S.H.
Thank you for listening.